Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I'm going to read a paragraph from the first essay in this collection of essays by Randall Jarrell, the American poet. I first heard about this book at the channel Richardson Reads. Not this book exactly. It was the first book of Jarrell's literary criticism, and I couldn't find a copy of that online, but there was this selected compilation to be had, so I decided to go with it, presuming that it contains the best of all four of his books. Two of them were posthumous, I believe. I will link the channel below, but it was something that I saw in a book haul, so there was no discussion of the book per se. Jarrell's criticism is stark, and at least as far as this first essay goes, I can't say that I agree with everything that he says when I understand it, and I can't say that I understand everything that he says. But there's a lot of zingers interspersed throughout the text, some dated formulations possibly as well. But this paragraph, which comes toward the close of the essay, is rather magnificent in its way, and I thought I would just give it to you in its entirety. Art matters not merely because it is the most magnificent ornament and the most nearly unfailing occupation of our lives, but because it is life itself. From Christ to Freud, we have believed that if we know the truth will set us free. Art is indispensable because so much of this truth can be learned through works of art and through works of art alone. For which of us could have learned for himself what Proust and Chekhov, Hardy and Yeats and Rilke, Shakespeare and Homer learned for us? And in what other way could they have made us see the truths which they themselves saw, those differing and contradictory truths which seem, nevertheless, to the mind which contains them, in some sense, a single truth? And all these things, by their very nature, demand to be shared. If we are satisfied to know these things ourselves, and to look with superiority or indifference at those who do not have that knowledge, we have made a refusal that corrupts us as surely as anything can. If, while most of our people, the descendants of those who ordinarily listened to Grimm's tales and the ballads and the Bible, who exceptionally listened to Aeschylus and Shakespeare, listen not to simple or naive art, but to an elaborate and sophisticated substitute for art, an immediate and infallible synthetic, as effective and terrifying as advertisements or the speeches of Hitler. If, knowing all this, we say, art has always been a matter of a few, we are using a truism to hide a disaster. One of the oldest, deepest, and most nearly conclusive attractions of democracy is manifested in our feeling that through it not only material but also spiritual goods can be shared, that in a democracy bread and justice, education and art will be accessible to everybody. If a democracy should offer its citizens a show of education, a sham art, a literacy more dangerous than their old illiteracy, then we should have to say that it is not a democracy at all, but one more variant of those people's democracies which share with any true democracy little more than the name. Goethe said, "The only way in which we can come to terms with the great superiority of another person is love." But we can also come to terms with superiority, with true excellence, by denying that such a thing as excellence can exist. And in doing so, we help to destroy it and ourselves. I thought that the reference to the speeches of Hitler was very apropos, given that we are in the midst of a presidential contest in my country, in which one of the contestants is a acknowledged student of the speeches of Hitler and has garnered a large following and support for himself. We live in interesting times. So I will leave that there. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.